at least one financial negotiation seeming to go as planned for the Obama administration today, following a phone call from an unidentified Obama official. Citigroup today saying it will not be taking delivery of that new corporate jet, the $50 million job, partially funded by viewers like you, and announcing that it will be cutting the number of corporate jets in its fleet from 5 to 2. Meanwhile, the Obama phase of the federal banking bailout beginning this afternoon, with word that his Treasury Department today handed out $683 million in TARP money to 23 different banks. Joining us now, Air America Radio's Thom Hartmann. Tom, thanks for your time tonight.
Good evening, Keith.
In addition to new corporate jets and million-dollar office makeovers with $68,000 chairs, were these executives just hoping nobody was going to notice this? Because so far in its oversight function, Congress certainly didn't seem to notice.
I think they live in a different world. They literally think differently. Many of these people are children of multi-generational wealth. They're holding the property of multi-generational wealth. They travel in private jets. They live in a world apart from us, and I think that they just didn't expect that anybody would really care. It's like, you know, the auto workers, they hold the jobs of working people, but the bankers, you know, they're the masters of the universe. I just don't think they expected this.
And did anybody at Citigroup appear to expect that phone call from somebody, whoever it was, in the Obama administration? And what are we gleaning? What are we inferring from the fact that that phone call was made?
Well, I think what it indicates is that the Obama administration, much unlike the Bush administration, is going to pursue this, is going to pursue the interests of most of America, working class America. I don't think these guys expected this at all. You know, who knows? Maybe they're going to go out and hire Blagojevich's PR firm now, and you'll see him on The View tomorrow. But I don't know. They're punting as fast as they can.
But they may be punting now, but I mean, this continued largesse on Wall Street and in banking and in other corporate bailout recipients, it's so bad that I found myself in complete agreement with my friend Al Michaels, who is a rock-ribbed conservative and who observed again today at one of the Super Bowl functions that after we get the detainees out of Gitmo, we should keep the place open and fill it up with CEOs. I mean, how could any group of people be so tone deaf that they could simultaneously infuriate the left and the right in the America of 2009?
Well, yeah, this is how bad it is. Warren Buffett, for example, when he helped bail out Goldman Sachs, he put $5 billion into Goldman Sachs, got a 10% return, a 10% guaranteed dividend on the preferred stock he bought. Hank Paulson goes in and says, "Oh, we'll bail you out too. We're going to help too. We'll put in $10 billion, but we'll only take a 5% return." We got half as much of a return on it. And you know, back during the Bush administration times, it was like nobody really seemed to say anything about that. Now I think people are waking up. I think this is going to change.
$750 billion in taxpayer dollars and counting, with very little public equity, as you point out, or ownership in the banks, certainly in return. Why didn't the government insist on that? Could it still insist on that going forward? Are other forms of oversight likely, and is there some mechanism going to be developed that does not involve something horrible like a $50 million private jet being printed in the newspapers or broadcast on TV and somebody off the record calling up from the administration and saying, "You're being very naughty"? Are we going to somehow streamline this process?
Well, legally, I think and this is one of the reasons why Senators Feingold and Sanders and in the House, DeFazio and some of the progressive caucus members voted against passing along the rest of the money, is that legally they've got it. You know, arguably it's just as untransparent as it was before. The difference, however, is that we have a different Treasury Department, a different president, a different administration. So while the law doesn't provide for changes in the way it's administered, you know, those things that the people early on that I was mentioning who were opposed to the TARP were saying should be in there, strong oversight, no more executive jets, those kind of things, they're still not in there. But the administration has the ability administratively, I believe, to make sure that that does happen. I think, though, a much better situation would be to simply do what was done in the UK with Northern Rock, which is nationalize the banks, frankly.
Thom Hartmann, of course, of Air America Radio, his book, Cracking the Code, out in paperback. Great, thanks for your time, Tom.
Thank you, Keith.